Hey everyone, and welcome back to the channel. Today we're diving deep into the Marvel Universe to unmask one of its most complex and infamous figures, Yellowjacket. You might know him as the formidable foe from the Ant-Man movie, but his comic book history is a wild ride of heroism, villainy, and a serious identity crisis. So grab your popcorn as we explore the fascinating and often tragic origins of the man behind the yellow and black suit. To truly understand Yellowjacket, we have to start with the man who first wore the mantle, Dr. Henry Hank Pym. That's right, the original Ant-Man himself. This is where things get complicated, because the story of Yellowjacket is inextricably linked to the story of Hank Pym's own struggles. It's not just a simple hero versus villain tale. It's a story about the dark side of a hero's psyche. The catalyst for all this was a lab accident. While working with some new experimental gases, Hank Pym had a chemical mishap that triggered a profound psychological break. This wasn't just a simple case of feeling down, it was a full-blown schizophrenic episode that fractured his personality. A new, more aggressive and arrogant persona emerged from the depths of his mind. This new identity gave himself a name, Yellowjacket. So, this newly born Yellowjacket, still in Hank Pym's body, bursts onto the scene. He's cocky, reckless, and claims to have done away with Hank Pym for good. He even kidnaps his own girlfriend, Janet Van Dyne, also known as the Wasp. His big, audacious plan: to force her to marry him. It's a shocking turn of events for a founding member of the Avengers. But Janet, being the brilliant and perceptive hero she is, quickly figures out what's going on. She realizes that Yellowjacket is just a twisted version of Hank, playing along to keep him stable. She agrees to the marriage. She hopes that by going through with it, she can help Hank find his way back. It's a huge gamble, but it shows her deep love and belief in him. The wedding day arrives, and just as they're about to say their vows, a villainous group called the Circus of Crime attacks. In the heat of the battle, faced with a real threat to Janet's life, the real Hank Pym finally resurfaces. The shock of almost losing her snaps him out of his Yellowjacket persona. He remembers who he is and fights off the attackers as the hero he was always meant to be. After this dramatic episode, Hank and Janet decide to go through with the wedding for real. For a while, it seems like Hank has put his demons to rest. He even tries to redeem the Yellowjacket identity, deciding to use it for good. He adopts the Yellowjacket suit as his primary superhero costume, attempting to merge this aggressive part of himself with his heroic intentions. He's no longer just Ant-Man or Giant Man. He's Yellowjacket, a hero. But the stability doesn't last. The Pym Particles, the very source of his powers, have always had a significant mental and physical toll on their users. The constant shrinking and growing, combined with the earlier chemical exposure, continued to mess with his mental state. The pressures of being a superhero, the scientific failures, and the feeling of being overshadowed by other heroes like Iron Man and Captain America all started to weigh on him. This leads to one of the most controversial moments in Avengers history. During a moment of intense stress and paranoia, Hank, back in his Yellowjacket persona, lashes out and strikes Janet. This act of domestic violence was a point of no return. It shattered his reputation and his marriage. The Avengers, horrified by his actions, court-martialed him. In a desperate and misguided attempt to redeem himself, Hank builds a robot to attack the Avengers, planning to save them from it. But the plan backfires spectacularly, and he is expelled from the team in disgrace. This is the true villainous turn for the original Yellowjacket. He's no longer a hero struggling with a dark side. He's a fallen hero who has given in to his worst impulses. His story becomes a cautionary tale about the immense pressure heroes face and the devastating consequences of unchecked mental health issues. Hank Pym's journey as Yellowjacket is a tragedy, showing how even the greatest minds can fall. But the story of Yellowjacket doesn't end with Hank Pym. Years later, a new character takes up the mantle, bringing a fresh wave of terror. Enter Darren Cross. In the comics, Cross is a ruthless businessman and the head of Cross Technological Enterprises, a rival to Pym's own company. He was a self-made millionaire, but he had a serious heart condition. In a desperate attempt to save his own life, He kidnaps Dr. Erica Sondheim, a heart surgeon who had previously operated on him, to get a new heart. This brings him into direct conflict with Ant-Man, now Scott Lang. During their battle, Cross's overstressed heart gives out, but that's not the end of him. His son, Augustine Cross, later revives him. Using Pym Particles and cloning technology, Augustine doesn't just bring his father back. He transforms him. Darren Cross is reborn, but now he has powers similar to Ant-Man's. However, the process is flawed. To maintain his own body, he needs to harvest the hearts of others. He's a literal heartless villain. Eventually, Darren Cross gets his hands on an early prototype of Hank Pym's Yellowjacket suit. He reverse engineers and weaponizes it, creating the advanced laser-equipped suit we see him wear. This is the version of Yellowjacket that many fans recognize from the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Unlike Hank Pym, who became Yellowjacket, through a psychological break, Darren Cross actively chooses this path. He is driven by greed, envy, and a deep-seated resentment of Hank Pym. In the movie, his character is a bit different. He's a former of Hank Pym. He feels betrayed and abandoned by his mentor, who refused to share the Pym particle technology, fearing its potential for destruction. This sense of entitlement and jealousy fuels Cross's obsession. He manages to replicate the Pym particles, creating his own version of the shrinking technology. He designs the Yellowjacket suit not just as a weapon, but as a perversion of Pym's own legacy. This version of Yellowjacket represents the dark side of scientific ambition. While Hank Pym initially wanted to use his discovery to help humanity, Darren Cross sees it only as a commodity to be sold to the highest bidder, no matter how nefarious. His Yellowjacket suit is more advanced and overtly militaristic, complete with powerful plasma cannons. He is the physical embodiment of Pym's greatest fears about his technology falling into the wrong hands. The rivalry between Ant-Man and Yellowjacket, whether it's Hank Pym versus his own inner demons or Scott Lang versus Darren Cross, is always deeply personal. It's not just about two guys in super suits fighting each other, it's a battle of ideologies. It's about the responsibility that comes with great power and the thin line between using science for good and using it for personal gain or destruction. The Pym particles are the core of this conflict. They grant incredible abilities, but they also come at a high cost. For Hank Pym, the cost was his mental stability. The particles amplified his existing insecurities and anxieties, ultimately creating the monstrous Yellowjacket persona. For Darren Cross, the particles were a means to an end, a tool to achieve the power and recognition he craved, but their instability also had a damaging effect on his mind, making him more erratic and cruel. So, who is the definitive Yellowjacket? Is it the tragic hero Hank Pym, a good man who succumbed to his own flaws? Or is it the ambitious villain Darren Cross, a man who twisted a brilliant discovery for his own selfish purposes? The answer is, it's both. The legacy of Yellowjacket is a dual one. It serves as a reminder of Hank Pym's greatest failure and a symbol of the ever-present danger of his most famous invention. It's a fascinating exploration of the hero or villain dynamic, showing that sometimes the greatest enemy is the one that comes from within, or the one that's a dark reflection of ourselves. Yellowjacket isn't just a bad guy in a cool suit. He's a legacy of pain, ambition, and the corrupting influence of power. What do you think? Who is your favorite version of Yellowjacket? Let me know your thoughts down in the comments. Thanks for watching, and if you enjoyed this deep dive, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell for more content. See you next time.